My mum said, "You see that thing over there? I think that's the place." So Trevor said, "Okay, playtime. I'm going to get the security guards out of the way." Very, very quietly. He had this Harrybo guard, this guy my mum and dad gave to him. So I said, "And how about you, George and Mervyn?" George said, "I'm going to be doing my sneaky stuff. When you open the door, I shall get the map to the holding room." Mervyn said, "I'll help George." "Fair enough," I said. "Okay then, we're off." And off we go. And then we start mission Saving Private Brian. Not long after, Trevor was standing in front of the door on his own. Then he pulled the lever, the door slid open. So George and Mervyn ran and jumped inside the facility. Then me and my mum and dad as well. So there we all were. George said, "I found a map of this place. It's huge in here, but I think I know where we've got to be, so follow me." But Trevor said, "Stop right there. You think they can't catch you, don't you, brainhead? Here is the plan. You are my prison. Yes. George shall help find the way." George said, "Don't you mean lead the way?" So Trevor said, "Yeah, in the way." And he said, "Anyway, okay, do you all understand?" So we go, "Okay, Trevor, don't worry about it." And off we go. And there it was, the holding room. Trouble was, there were two Harrybo Company guards in the door. They had a kind of space trooper helmet. So Trevor said, "Here goes." "Hello, my fellow Harrybo Company guards." We all frowned and then started looking right at Trevor, and he said, "These are my prison. Yes, let us in, please." No answer from the door. Suddenly, one of them started talking in his spooky voice. There was silence. Dad said, "Sorry, what did you say?" So everyone said, "Shh." Suddenly, Trevor said, So Trevor said, "Yes, now I go short women, it is no more enough. Master that, of mercy, now wide or he moves it the boys of us, it's half near your better. Now sit, a gush of so, smash the light." They all just were looking at each other, and then at Trevor again. And after severe stuff you was worth now for no I'll get doing some times. So I as we go, yeah, just no. And you could man on with this, yeah. As we go, yeah, just no. First time it's no busy. Alright, had no mamma. Med offer guschen going with the hours. But he mean did you know but guschen going with it. Yes, then now we stuffen there's no wish. Yes, now yeah, he's offen there's not. Oh, with the arena my sex you. I should see with the swag. Yeah, says to get with the space loch jou recht with you see my with my. Eerst dan kan al wat met je zat zitten met de lijn vanaf maar ook iemand eerst gets the boy for and the alles nu uit dus hebben de meeste zei han is ik hop maar eerst zat zitten met de lijn vanaf maar ook iemand zitten met de lijn vanaf maar ook iemand is nu ja dus no. So Trevor turns to us and he goes, and then the door opens. There we all were. It was huge. There were lights on all around the holding room. Then I said, "How can you speak the moon?" So Trevor said, "Shh, not now, Nick." And he gave us a piece of paper each. It said, "Okay," and off we go. Showtime. I gave my mum and dad the 3 magic plums, and I went with my friend Trevor, and my mum and dad went with George and Mervyn looking for my brother. It was then we went deeply into the great big room. It looked like a kind of tent floor. I noticed there were hundreds of soldiers and guards, hundreds and hundreds of them. So Trevor said, "Watch out." Very, very quiet. and he looked at the get the ring right in the middle of the room. They were doing a ring. Blimey. Suddenly, there was a huge flash, and suddenly we all heard a terrible noise. A man with a black hood started talking in his spooky voice, and that's when we get into really big trouble.
Now, the schnall, remember was is when they say now, ik op in de zon, zoekst er kost nog dat wel. It's sneer always like Matt Lowe's doing. See, let's just need the fear as to send him do. If you know, only now go start on, I go search now Lowe's just get soft, you know, what Matt Lowe's doing. See, let's just need the fear as to send him. Looks that is the national value. Not need.
It was then two great big demons came in. Oh no! Then suddenly another flash, and all the people heard a terrible noise.
Ja, is net wie heeft bespaard. Wie les dit verhaal staat, begreep bezit en als dit les staat, begreep bezit af. Eerst nooit je vier. Dus maar wie les dit niet meer is. Zijn even doen.
Harrybo, he's the half demon appeared. He was taller than me. Meanwhile, my mum and dad waited for George and Mervyn. Suddenly Mervyn came running and said, "Come fast. We found his location, but there's another problem." And off they go. When they got there, they noticed the door and there were 5 security guards. My mum said, "Where is Trevor?" And George said to Mervyn, "Go get him, please." "Yeah, okay." And there was Mervyn looking for me and Trevor, all hoping. And then suddenly, Mervyn noticed Harrybo and said, "What's that?" A demon duck.
Even only I go search now Lowe's just get soft, you know, what he's dus the smile now, why so we dus I go search now dus my this game of yours to send you in the zero van is it the silver and so gives Musha, oh, snow, the vein it,
It was then Mervyn began to weigh 4 times. Suddenly, Trevor appeared with me and we ran and ran. So Trevor said, "Okay, go." Hiding in the corner, and off we go. Trevor said, "Nah, how do I feel on them? I get all the video off me on." He mistake. Oh, ما هذا سيكا.
Yeah, let's see the guys as well.
Nee, je bent een schertsen natuurlijk van hij roept je zei. Nee, als je moest maar als die bedoelt nou het smel met ik staan voor het zag vast zo is het zeer niet 50.
So if you was now for no get doing some songs. So I left. Yes, me, yeah, there's no this the war boy there where you mark down past here this is not and as my last right you was no this and as my
Outside. Nee, dat niet was je must help me verloren. Dad said, "You're way too good at this, Trevor." Anyway, there we all were. It was then we noticed the holding coffin on top. It said, "Brian Rosen." I tried to unlock it. My mum said, "Let me do it." And she rushed at the holding coffin and we waited. Then she bolted the lid above us and there was my brother, mouth open, eyes staring, dead. My mum started crying, but she said, "Right, let's do this." And she took one magic plum and put it very carefully into my brother's mouth. Then suddenly my brother began to light up bright blue, then bright red, and then suddenly my brother goes and stands up. He just stands up. Magic. And he settles down to sit. My mum said, "Brian, can you hear me?" And he said, "Yeah, I've got a headache." What happened to me? And then my mum said, Don't worry about it, dear. I'll tell you later. Dad said, Brian. My brother said, Dad. And I said, Brian. My brother said, Michael. Then I said, never let me see you die again. We're looking at each other, smiling. So Trevor said, look at that. And everything was lovely once again. Wonderful. Suddenly, the alarm went. There was an awful yelling and crying. So Trevor said, quick, get out of here. We ran and ran, and there were hundreds of Harrybo Company just filling the hallways, running. So Trevor screamed, quick, George, lead the way back. George said, yeah, okay. Rush downstairs, and there it was, the exits. My mum and dad, Trevor and George were the first to leave. Then, suddenly, something pulled Mervyn by the leg, and it was this really long brown tentacle. George screamed, Mervyn! Then the creature appeared, tipping Mervyn into its mouth, its teeth cut into his skull. All his clothes were torn, there was blood on his face, and he screamed, run! And I saw Mervyn bursting, dead. Oh no! And it was a terrifying creature called the Vogel Mark II. My mum and dad were shouting to me and my brother, get out of here, or it's gonna get you two. There it was in front of me, and my brother roaring really loud. But my brother, what's he doing? He took this electronic gun out of his pocket, and then he said, no, not this time. Kaboom, 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 kaboom. CaptainPlums